Hello, friends, and welcome to the world of science and technology. Information Communication Technology, chapter number 10 of Standard 9th Science 2. This is the first lecture of this chapter. Myself, Kavita Kobarne from Gokula Education Society's HN High School English Medium is going to present this video to you all. First, we will see what we are going to cover up in this video. Introduction to ICT, role of ICT in your personal life. Role of ICT is in workplace, introduction to computer, generation of computer and components of computer. These all topics are going to be covered in this video for you all. We will start with introduction to ICT. ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. ICTs are the technologies used in conveying, manipulating and storage of data by electronic means. It focuses primarily on communication technology. It includes technologies such as landline, radio, television, mobile, tablet, computer, email, WhatsApp. All these things are included in ICT. It means by using ICT, we can transmit, process, store, create, display, share or exchange the information to each other by the electronic means. What we are doing is also a part of ICT. We are studying with the help of ICT. We can share the knowledge to each other. Role of ICT is very important in our personal life. Social networking sites help people to remain in touch with their nears and dears even when they are living at far off places like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. They are the sites which help the people to be in touch with us, each other. Now the corona situation, in that also we are in touch with because of this Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram to each other. Social networking sites help like minded people come together and work for some common causes. So, if they are physically not able to be in contact with each other through this site, they can come in contact. E learning sites make quality study material available even to students staying at remote places. Now, in this condition, through the Doordarshan, through the radio, those who are not having the iPhones or the Android phones, they can also do the study because of this ICT. Next one is e-banking and bill payment. Just instead of going in the bank, we can do online payment. Just sit on one place and pay the payments. Here, with the help of that ICT only, it is possible. As ICT is useful in our personal life, it is also important in our workplaces also, where we are working. We can speed the sending of information. Means what we want to send the information, that can be speed up. Faster we can send it. Improves organizational communication to different organizations. Companies, we can say, we can come to be in contact with them and communicate also. It can improve our accuracy. After all, it is a technology, so it is perfect, and it is creates the mobility. So from one place to the other, we can just be in contact with each other because of this ICT. So that is the importance in workplace. One of the important device in ICT is computer. Now we will have an introduction to computer. Computer is an electronic device capable of processing arithmetic and logical instructions at a rapid rate and with the greater accuracy. That is capable of processing fast and accurate information. If you give the information to it, it will immediately process it out and the result will be within a fraction in front of us. So that is how the computer is working. So computer is the most important ICT device. Now we will see the generations of computers. Successive stages of evolution of digital computers are called computer generation. Means the huge computers to now at present what the computers we are having. They have developed step by step. So that step by step process is called as a generation of computers. In each generation is characterized by its remarkable improvement in technology and internal organization programming languages over the previous generation. So there is a development in the next generation computers. First we will see only the first generation computers. How was it? It was just built by using evacuated vacuum tubes. They are called as valves. These valves, they are very large in size and they are emitting, or they are just generating large amount of heat. So they had to be well spaced out. Means they require a lot of space for the construction. Consequently, computer has to be built big. They have to be constructed big and cooled. They have to be cooled by huge air conditioners. Hence, there were frequent burnout of these valves and hardware failures. Consequently, there were frequent shutdown of these computers and needed constant maintenance. And also, they are consuming lot of electric power also. These first generation computers were used during the period of 1946 to 1959. The ENIAC computer was made in this period. Technology has brought the changes in the generation. Technology changed from vacuum tubes to transistors, transistors to ICs, then to microprocessors. Like this, they keep on changing. Size and cost of computers reduced drastically. Next, memory devices evolved and improved in size, capacity, and speed. From magnetic drum memory, that is in the first generation, magnetic core memory in the second generation, to semiconductor memories, which is there in third generation onwards, it is going on. ARPANET, which grew into today's internet, began at the end of third generation. Local area networking, that is called LAN technology, was developed in fourth generation. Use of mouse has was developed during the fourth generation. Today's computers are fifth generation of computers. You can see the change in the size and shape and also the accuracy and the speed of the computer from first to fifth generation. In the fifth generation, we have the highest accuracy and speed of processing. First generation computer was ENIAC. E for electronic, N for numerical, I for integrator, A for and C for computer. We will see basic components of a computer system. They are input device, output device, processing device, memory device. All these things we will just see one by one in detail. First one is input device. Input devices allow a user to enter data and instructions into a computer. Example, keyboard, mouse, microphone, scanner, touch screen, joystick, graphic tablet, digital camera. They all are considered as a input devices for a computer. Next are the output device, in which it comes monitor, printer, plotter, speaker, projector, headphones. These all are considered as an output device because we are getting the result of whatever we have input in the computers. So we can get the videos, we can get the music, we can get the printout from the plotter, we can get the graph and all these things. Next component of computer hardware is central processing unit, that is CPU. The CPU unit and the arithmetic logic unit, that is ALU, of a computer system are jointly known as central processing unit. What the ALU do? ALU is performing the arithmetic operation, that is plus, minus, multiplication and division, and logical operations, that is the sentence consists of and, or, complement, greater than, lesser than. This type of operation ALU do. And function of CU, that is it manages and coordinates the entire computer system. That is the function of CU. CU means controlling unit of that computer. Memory devices. The device which is used to store data, instruction and information for a short term or a long term is called as a memory device. Computer memory is classified as follows, that is primary storage or secondary storage. Primary storage is also called as an internal memory and secondary storage is also called as an external memory. Primary memory, which is also called as an internal memory, it is directly accessed by CPU. There are two types of primary memory. First one is RAM, that is random access memory. ROM, read only memory. RAM, this memory is very fast and expensive also, as data and programs must be in the primary memory for execution. The content of this memory is erased when the computer is switched off. Next one is ROM. This memory permanently stores important instructions which can only be read but cannot be changed. Its contents are not erased even when the computer is switched off. Next memory type is secondary memory, or it is also called as an external memory. They are used to permanently store softwares as well as raw and processed data. Both the program and data can then be repeatedly used whenever required. They can also be erased or overwritten by the user. Examples of secondary memory or external memory are compact disc, which is also called as CD, digital versatile disc, that is called as a DVD, pen drive, we call it as PD, and hard disk. They all are the examples of external memory. Their capacities are varying to store the data. So in that you can just store software as well as raw and processed data. Whenever you require, you can use it. It is very handy to use also. Next is operating system. The most important software in any computer is operating system. In short, it is called as OS. This is the software that starts working as soon as we switch on computer. It displays the desktop on the computer. This is a program which provides a means of communication between the computer and the person working on it. So it is called as a disk operating system, DOS also. We cannot use a computer without its operating system. There are different types of operating systems are Windows, Linux, Ubuntu, MacOS, Android, etc. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you must have understood it very well. Stay home, stay safe, take care of yours. We will be meeting soon in the next video. Till then, bye.